Hi guys, it's Margaret Skype, and in today's video we're going to talk about something super interesting, something that I'm sure some of you out there are wondering, and I have been meaning to make this video for the longest time, and finally I took the time to do it. It is going to be top 10 places of proposal for your girl or guy or whoever. 10 top engagement proposals, ideas, pros and cons, just a really good video for if you're trying to propose, if you just want to know about proposal, or if you just want to have a laugh and have an interesting viewpoint on how people propose. If you're out there thinking, how do people propose? This is a good video for you to watch because we've heard proposal stories for over the last 20 years, I want to say, and they always repeat themselves in a sense that they're very similar to one another, depending on which place and scenery a person chooses, but they are very, very similar. So me and Max came up with top 10 proposal stories that we have heard and we want to share with you. Now stay tuned for number 10 because it is unpredictable. And at the end, I'm going to announce a giveaway. We are starting to do our giveaways, which means that any one of you watching out there could win something and we will ship it for you. Now, without further ado, number one of the most common, and I'm sure you know about it, places to propose is a restaurant. Of course, beautiful sceneries. Most of the times it is interesting restaurants like top of the tower or some kind of really fancy place. I know in Canada, one of the most proposal places is the tower that's in the middle of the city, or one of the other ones is the Doctor House, which is just a lot of our clients do proposals there. It is, I believe, in Kleinburg, and it's just one of those places that's really, really neat and great for proposal because it is beautiful and flowery and just fancy. So restaurant for number one. Pros and cons. The pro is actually great because, it's a great environment. It can be romantic, the lights can be dimmed, you can talk to waiters about it before, so you can organize everything the way you want to. I find the restaurant is probably the safest place to do a proposal, because it's just everything could really run the way you want it to run. There's very little room for surprises in a restaurant, I want to say. The con is some girls do find it boring because it's so common. I've heard a lot of girls that just say, yeah, he proposed in a restaurant, but I was expecting something more. So I guess a lot of women out there view it as kind of a you didn't put in a lot of work type of proposal, which I want to disagree with because we've heard some crazy proposal stories with guys going out of their ways, ordering cakes, getting photographers to photograph the whole thing. It was great. One of the craziest stories that I can think of is this guy decided to propose at the end of the evening, but they had a lot of drinks coming into this because he was nervous, and I guess they didn't eat too much, so they were kept drinking and they're both kind of tipsy. And at the very end of the night, his idea was that it will come with a dessert, and she almost ate it, you guys. So one of those stories that they do, one of those movies in Hollywood, is not wrong. I want to say this was a real story. She almost ate the ring because one, they were kind of tipsy by the end of the night, and two, it was a fancy dessert with a whole bunch of different things. And so, they were chatting and everything, and I guess at that point he forgot that he's actually proposing, and she almost took a bite and ate it until he stopped it and said, wait, I actually have something to say, and he went down on his knees and proposed. So I thought that was funny restaurant story. Number two place, and you'd be surprised on this one of the most common ones after restaurant is an airplane. Airplane meaning inside the airplane. Exactly what I mean. A lot of our Canadian clients propose on an island when they get to Vancouver. You could take a little airplane going to Victoria Island. It's really beautiful scenery and just a beautiful place. And they propose right inside the airplane and do the whole, speech and everything inside. And then there's sort of a second category of guys, and they decide to do it on, any airplane, like even the ones that you can order in any city, like one of those, featuring the cities, and I'm sure every city has one of those. So what they do is, I'm sure you've seen it in a lot of the different movies and videos. They put something on the actual surface of the ground, like, will you marry me? Like if it's Miami or US or, somewhere where there's a beach, it could be on the beach. If it's in Canada, we've seen people do it on like a river, but they would have a shore, and so you're able to say, will you marry me? Okay, it's a big operation because it takes a lot of time, and that's probably the con. The pro is just it's so unique and it's so unexpected, and most of the girls that got proposed that way, every time they come in, they remember that story. I find that the airplane proposal is just so unique and so different that you kind of hold on to those memories for the rest of your life. So I do find the airplane proposals are really great. You can do them in different ways, you know. We've seen it all. We've even seen a story where a guy from the airplane was proposing to the girl while his friends and family said, will you marry me, in the actual bodies. So they would line up in the letters, will you marry me, as people, and that was just amazing. Amazing story, and she of course said yes. So airplane for number 2. Number 3 is a hike. A hiking trip or a hike. This is super common, especially for couples that love the whole earthy feel to it. The whole, you know, taking hikes and nature. A lot of our clients that are into that, they do proposals on a hike trip. Now, pros for a hike trip would be that it is obviously so beautiful, so unique. You going through green forest or a beach if it's a beach hike, and there's no one else except for the birds and the beautiful sounds. It's just the two of you. I find it so romantic and so calm and just so, you know, one of a kind, because the scenery would always be different, and the fact that the two of you are there together just makes it so beautiful. It's just you, him, and the nature. So I do think the hiking is beautiful. Pros to it is, like I said, it's going to be unique every single time, and it is beautiful. The cons is the actual hiking. And the reason I'm saying hiking, because most of the guys that did it, they all have some kind of horror stories. It's either the day that they planned it, it was raining. It's either it was too hot, or one of the worst stories that we've seen associated with the hiking proposal was the fact that the guy hit a ring on a hike that they normally would go to by some kind of tree and forgot where it is. So he ended up, you know, trying to just wanting to go under that tree and grab it, didn't find it there. It came out, no surprise, because he started looking everywhere for that ring. He obviously had to explain what he's looking for, and the whole thing turned into a funny disaster that they will perhaps remember for the rest of their lives. But hiking trip is associated with a lot of scary stories. Also a story where, no joke, the guy hides the ring in some kind of bush. The night before his proposal in the morning, sure enough, it was stolen. When he went on that hiking trip early in the morning to catch that sunrise, there was nothing in the bushes. I mean, whether somebody followed him or knew it or whatnot, we don't know, but a lot of these hiking stories have always associated me with some kind of disaster. So when a guy comes and says, I am planning a hike, I always have to go, oh, let me tell you some pros and cons, just because, you know, I don't want you to have one of those disaster stories that we have heard and seen. Number 4 is a river or an ocean. If you're in Canada, there's no ocean. I mean, there is, but it's in Vancouver. So I'm from Toronto. So the way where we are, there aren't really any ocean around. So a lot of my Canadian stories from Toronto are all river-based or lake-based. There's a lot of lakes. And so you'd either get a paddle boat or a boat or a catamaran and just, you know, propose there. So anything that has you with water, I want to say. Or if you're in Miami, then of course there is ocean. So it would be, you know, an ocean boat or paddle boat, same thing, but on an ocean. So I want to say number 4 is just water. We've had a lot of proposals in water. We've had a lot of people that want to plan the water proposal, from water taxis to river boats to little paddle boats, anything that's on water. And it's usually those that love water naturally. So it's either the guy that's, you know, into fishing or loves water, girl loves water. A lot of these couples are just water-based people that just love water because most of the times it can be romantic. You could really do a romantic proposal on water, because if it's a sunset, you could plan a beautiful sunset and have some rose petals and champagne and whatnot. It is on the expensive side, but not necessarily if you're gonna do like a paddle boat, because that's more of a, you know, earthy feel to it. So I find the water is an interesting proposal. Pros is, you know, not that expensive. It's doable in almost every single destination. I don't know a place where there's no water around. It is very, very beautiful, because you can figure out some kind of cool sceneries or places where you can go that are super romantic. The cons would be just being careful, because as any disaster, we did hear glorious stories on how he went down on his knees with a ring in the boat, and either the boat took off or he went overboard, or stories like that, and the ring is lost, and so on and so forth. We did hear stories like that. So when it comes to water, I want to say be mindful of how you do it. If it's a small paddle boat, I would literally either do it sitting down and not going on your knees necessarily, or perhaps, and one of my clients did this, I'm not even joking, you tie the ring inside the box to the box, so it just has a little bit more weight. So when you're standing on your one leg and proposing, you have this box that you're holding onto, and the ring, although it's inside the box, it is tied into the box from inside. So maybe that will help out. I'm not sure. The one with the water is really, really popular. Now, number 5 is a destination wedding. A destination wedding means, you know, any resort style wedding. Like, there are plenty of gorgeous resort places that host weddings and engagements, all kinds of places. I mean, we've had destination proposals so many times, especially I want to say in Canada, because it is common there to go on a resort. So a lot of people just book a beautiful resort for a week for, you know, a couple $1,000s or whatever in a beautiful, beautiful place, and then do it there, whether it's on a boat there or inside the resort or a dinner or whatever, it makes no difference. It's just a destination place. And it could be, it doesn't necessarily have to be the Caribbean. We've had clients who did it in France. We've had clients who did it in Italy. Destination meaning in a different country. The pros for that is that it is one of the most unique things you can do, because, you know, proposing in a different country, that's just something you will remember for the rest of your life, 100%. The pros to that is also that it is so different that, you know, the two of you will share these memories in the sense of all it being new. So like, if you're going on a hike trip that I mentioned before, you've already been to that hike trip, so there's none of that like surprising effect. But when you're doing it in a different country, everything is new to both of you, right? So I feel like it becomes such an interesting, different emotion for the two of you. The cons is the cost and the planning, because it's crazy to plan a destination proposal. It's just crazy. We've done it with our clients because we were involved in the process, because once you're doing a destination proposal, you would need to have a travel document for your engagement ring, and I have an excellent video about that I will link below. Anything you need to know if you are planning a destination proposal, please look below and please watch this video, I beg you, because it will save you time and money if you do. So I want to say it is expensive. For cons, it is super hard to plan, but it is, for the pro, it's probably one of the most amazing, one of the most romantic things the two of you will remember for the rest of your life. So number 6 is a humble home dinner, and I say humble because it is common, but most of the couples that do it, in my opinion, are very home-oriented and just super sweet. Just one of those people that don't want new things and chaos and so on and so forth. So usually the guy plans some kind of dinner and propose, you know, at the time. Or a lot of the times these home dinner proposals happen during when the family is here. So like Christmas time, New Year's time, Easter, whenever the whole family gathers, especially from around the world, I want to say, we've had people that just did home dinners. So it's, a lot of these couples are family oriented. It's important to them to propose in front of the whole family, because we kind of have the division of couples. Some like it really, really timid, and they feel like that proposal is a really kind of a moment between two people, okay? They don't want to share that particular moment with the whole family. And then we have other couples that are like, what do you mean my mom won't be there when you propose? And I remember they joke about it as they, you know, as they come when they're just maybe girlfriends and boyfriends, or he's giving her a promise ring and they talk about engagement down the road. It is funny because some couples are really adamant about the family being there. So the home dinner at number 6 is really, really, really common, especially for like cultures where family is a lot. So number 7 is cruise. You'd be surprised how many people want to do it on a cruise. And I think it makes sense, you know, if you're going on Bahamas, it's a nice cruise, or if you're getting one of those big boats, it's great on its own. You know, it's great. For pros, it's probably very, very fun to do a cruise engagement. For cons, it takes a while to plan and figure it out, you know, where where you're going to store the item and how you're going to propose. And part of cruise, because I know that they have some, dinner places and some cooler places like the show. So maybe you decide to do it at the show. So beautiful place. The cruise is really, really popular. Also feel like the couples that don't want chaos do it because it's a lot more like the home dinner previously, which actually we didn't discuss pros and cons. Obviously for pros, for the home dinner, it's just your family's there. So you're part of whole gathering of family. It could also be a con for someone who doesn't like that whole family staring at you when he proposal. And for cons, I guess the fact that it's not as special because it's a home dinner. But to me, home dinner is so neutral because it's one of those things that you either love or hate. So hopefully when you do propose, and if you are planning a home dinner, she's on the same page that she wants to share this whole home dinner with a lot of people. If you're doing a home dinner just for the two of you, then maybe it's a little different, but also on a very timid side. Number 8 is interesting. Proposing in bed. Have you heard of that? Because it is common to propose in bed, literally in bed. We've had a lot of clients who did it as one of those things. It's usually an emotional proposal. So a lot of people don't plan proposing in bed because, well, I guess it's hard to plan proposal in bed. So I guess it's one of those things like we have guys that are like, that's it. Yesterday I made up my mind. She's the girl. I want her. I am going to marry this girl. She's the girl of my dreams. I need a ring right now. And I always ask, so you're proposing tomorrow and you decided that today, where are you going to propose? And often they're like, literally like, we're going for dinner, we're going home, I'm gonna propose, in bed or at home or whatever. They play it cool, and most of the times I find out later that it is done in bed. Now, I'm not gonna go into details how it was done or before or after or whatever the scenery is in bed, but ironically, I'm going to share you a personal story. My husband proposed in bed. He did plan it, which makes him an interesting persona as it is. He planned to propose in a cottage. We took a getaway for the weekend, I believe. And I guess he wasn't sure at which point to propose. He just ended up proposing in bed. How, you ask me? I'm going to tell you how. We went to sleep. Funny as that. We shut off the lights. We kissed each other. We went to sleep. We were going to sleep. We had a great day of hiking and it was winter. It was really cold. So we went to sleep. And as I go on my pillow, I don't find it comfortable. I'm like, why isn't this comfortable? So I go under the pillow with my hand and something is in there. At first I got really scared. I'm like, what is it under my pillow? I'm like, Max, turn on the light. There's something under my pillow. I yelled. It was hilarious. And here he is opening the light and staring at me like this. I'm looking down on my pillow and I'm looking at this blue box of him proposing. Well, I guess me with the box and looking at him like, really? And sure enough, he made a speech and, said all those beautiful things that I couldn't say no to. So I said, well, actually, no, I started saying, oh my God, you planned this? You planned this now? Like when we went to sleep, it was just so hilarious. I kept talking and talking out of being so excited. And I remember him staring at me and saying, is that a yes? Because I just kept talking and I said, yes. So of course it's a yes. So it was interesting, but these kind of proposals do happen a lot. They just mostly happen for people that don't plan, except for Max. He was special. He planned it and it was in bed. Number 9 is cottage or cabin, which is interesting because I just talked about cottage and cabins. So I guess we would be in both of those categories. Cottage and cabins are a very, very common proposal. And I want to say especially in Canada, not so much in US. I don't find a lot of clients here do cottage and cabin. Although no, some people do go up to the mountains and do it there, like take an airplane, obviously. So yeah, cottage and cabin proposal. In Canada, it's really common because a lot of people do getaways to cottage and cabins. So I find that's where we kind of get those stories from. We have a lot of cottage and cabin stories. They are great. Minimal planning into them, really. I mean, all you have to do is get a really nice cottage and figure out where you want to propose, in bed or or somewhere else. I don't know, but they are very, very common. It's beautiful. You've got the fireplace going, you open a bottle of wine or champagne, you have your favorite music on the background. I find it similar to the home situation, but then maybe without the whole family. So I find the cottage and cabin proposal is also very safe for people that I guess don't like chaos, like my husband, for example, he doesn't like chaos. I don't know why we have 4 kids. He really doesn't like chaos, but, but here it is. That was God's plan. So in reality, he's a very timid personality, very home-like personality. He doesn't like chaos and he doesn't like new things. And he would really stress if he had to plan something that would have surprises. So I find the fact that he chose cottage cabin goes in line with his personality of being a very calm and quiet personality type of person. So I find that the cottage and cabin people are the ones that don't like surprises, the couples that choose to propose there. Now, are you ready? The most interesting, the most fun, the most rare, the most weird place to propose. Drum roll, it is in airport. Now, if you think a person plans to propose in the airport, you are very wrong at this point because they obviously do not. How does it happen? I'll tell you exactly how it happens. And if you watched my video on travel documents, you know already the answer to this because it happens exactly how you would think it would happen. It's when Rita says, be careful, your destination engagement is 50-50. You really need to plan it well. People don't listen to me. What happens? I'll tell you what happens. They have a ring in one of their pockets right here or somewhere on them. He goes through security and then the security says, hello, sir, please take everything, off and the shoes and the whole shabam. As you know how it happens in the airport. And I always say, if you come in this situation and you know you're gonna go through security, go talk to these guys. They know what the drill is and tell them, listen, I have this ring here. I gotta propose. Could you just kind of close your eyes on the fact that I have a ring in my pocket, right? For those of you that don't do that, and they didn't listen to me or they were too shy to do that. I know a lot of clients say, but I was too shy to approach them. Well, what happens? They try to scan it, it starts beeping, and they have no choice but to propose right there and then because they have to take it off and show what it is. The girl is usually somewhere around. And so the story of an airport is an ongoing story no matter what I say. It is always there. I always have people that tell me these horrendous stories after that, even though they planned this whole beautiful proposal somewhere in France. They ended up proposing in an airport right there in front of the whole security. I mean, of course, it's still fun and everything, but I bet in their head, they planned something different. So number 10 is an airport. It is not the most common, but it does happen every single year for us. I hear it. So this was 10 ways to propose that we have heard over these years in our practice. Now, what we're doing now is a giveaway. So we decided to start giving away a surprise item after every single video. I am going to choose people randomly. I know there's a program to choose random people who will win. What you have to do is subscribe to my channel and comment under this video. Tell me what's your favorite proposal or tell me how you were proposed to. Any of those counts for me, and I will do a draw probably in 2 weeks. So 2 weeks from when this comes out, I will do a draw of the people that do comment below under this video, and I will send you a gift that I will call right now a surprise, because you will absolutely love it, whoever you are out there. It is going to be from Miami Jewels. It is going to be beautiful and interesting, and I bet you it is also going to be loved by you or someone else that you love. I'm not gonna say anything else because I'm doing this first giveaway and I want it to be a surprise. Once I'm going to choose someone, or I'm going to use that program to choose someone, I will reach out to you and have you contact me via email so you can send me your shipping details so that I can ship you this beautiful item. Now let's go, let's have fun, and I'll see you in the next episode.